let's transfer this over to AJ Brown. And it's pretty obvious he is not happy. Was not happy from really this going back to last year, right? But it's different. They won the Super Bowl. That kind of masks all the problems. So here we are this year. I think it's going to be up to him. I think the bottom line, Philadelphia is not stupid. They're not going to waste their time. They can't go through what they just did again. This team has to revamp how they approach this season. And they're not moving on from Jalen Hurts, right? So you're picking AJ Brown or you're picking Jalen Hurts. Who are you picking? You're picking the quarterback. That's just how it works.
Right.
Plus the owner loves him. So, and he also is the Super Bowl MVP. So I think for AJ Brown, I could easily see Buffalo showing interest. I could see Kansas City showing interest. Imagine him with Patrick Mahomes. So we'll see if they wind up working out a deal to get him out of Philadelphia, but I'd be surprised to see him as an Eagle next year.
Yeah. Okay. Right. The Eagles are going to ship AJ Brown to the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you hear yourselves right now? What? Oh my God. What are we talking about here? Oh, here, AJ. We're going to send you to Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid. What? Oh my God. I'm going to start crying actually. Oh my God. What are we doing here? I mean, what are we talking about? Yeah, the Bills and some of these other teams can absolutely make sense. But if you think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to send AJ Brown to the Kansas City Chief, the Eagles are trying to win Super Bowls, obviously. And the Eagles know that they're consistently up there to try to win Super Bowls, as they've proven. They also are not dominant, so they understand who the Kansas City Chiefs are. And they know that the Kansas City Chiefs can also be great. And that there's a great chance that, dare I say, the team that the Eagles faced in the Super Bowl twice in the last 3 years, they could potentially face them again in another Super Bowl. I know, shocking, kind of a crazy thought. And they're going to send AJ Brown to that. Right. Or Harry Oman isn't smart enough to understand that if AJ Brown starts feasting with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, how that looks for Philadelphia. I swear, man. I swear. Again, he can feast and be great in Buffalo. Fine. Again, we could just start naming all these other teams. But if you think that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be dealing AJ Brown, unless they get an absolute haul. But the Philadelphia Eagles owe AJ Brown exactly nothing. This isn't one of those situations where AJ Brown has been a great soldier, but the team has been bad and they just can't win. And they're like, buddy, where do you want to go? We want to send you to a place where you can win a Super Bowl. Like, we thank you so much for sticking out. Like a Justin Jefferson situation. Where do you want to go? We will get you to Kansas City. We will get you. Like, obviously we still need the deal to be right for us, because we're not going to just be this isn't a donation-based business here, but like we want to get you summary. You can win. We're not going to just try to trade you to just no man's land and have you suffer. You've been an amazing soldier for us. You've been an amazing teammate. Where do you want to go? You know what do you want? Would you prefer Baltimore or Buffalo? They're both giving us the same. They're both giving us a second-round pick right now. Where do you want to go? Right? And that's not the situation. The Eagles have paid AJ Brown a massive amount of money and have gotten him to 2 Super Bowls and a Super Bowl ring. And they're going to be, here, AJ, go to Kansas City now. Oh my gosh. Are we in bizarro world right now? Oh my gosh. Hilarious. The big thing about AJ Brown to me is all depends on who they hire as the offensive coordinator, but that's obviously proving to be difficult, which I talked about yesterday. Because if you bring in a great offensive coach who's then going to be able to get to work, get AJ Brown the ball, etc., then you're good. But also depends on what Roseman can get. Some of these we can talk about the Chiefs or the Bills or these other random teams, and it's like, what will they offer? What will they offer? I imagine how he would want to send him to the AFC. I imagine that. But I'm just trying to think of a team that has the money and the draft capital, or, how he wants to do. Obviously, we know that's what he does best. But it all has to fit and be right for the Eagles, because all you have dead cap issues. I don't have that answer. I'm not going to pretend like I can wheel and deal as good as Hyatt Roseman right now. I could just tell you with such confidence he is not going to the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? I mean, that is the take. I know we're not technically in the off season, but like I guess for the Eagles, it is considered the off season, but it's not the official NFL off season. That is the take of the off season. Could you imagine AJ Brown with Patrick Mahomes? Yeah, we're never gonna see it. Okay, sorry. That's the way it works. That's the way. You know what? I'd love to see Jalen Hurts with Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Kyle Shannon. It's not happening in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform. I can tell you that right now. I'd love to see that. You know what? Could you imagine Josh Allen with Andy Reid? Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, right? Could you imagine Josh Allen with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce? Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just crazy, 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 crazy. It's all crazy to me, the conversations that unfold. And it's crazy because we're going to be in full swing this off season. It's going to be full swing. And what really saved the Eagles in 24, like going into the 2024 off season, was the fact that they crushed it in the off season, getting Kel Moore, getting Saquon Barkley, right? Going out and getting CJ Gardner-Johnson. And then Bond ended up being huge, but that wasn't like people weren't like the Eagles got B. Now the defense is going to be great, but they went out and got Fangio, right? Like they made these moves that people were like, whoa, all right, they are crushing it. And then in the draft, Cooper Dean Mitchell, which people, obviously you didn't know how great they were going to be, but they were still really high. Everybody was high on it except for Nick Wright. Nick Wright was the only one who was like, I know everyone says Harry Roseman made good moves. That's because he just picked who media wanted him to pick. And so the media, of course, is celebrating it. And it's like, no, they're celebrating it because it was the right move. Remember how he also didn't think getting Saquon Barkley was good either. I remember that. Or when he said the defense was going to be terrible and that Miami couldn't get Fangio out the door fast enough. Yeah, I remember that. How's Miami looking right now? Not good. Got it. But I mean, and so right now, this offseason, they don't have that so far, at least, right? Who knows what happens to the draft? Who knows what happens with AJ? Who knows what happens with the coordinating hire? I mean, if they retreat, if they get like a Doug Peterson or something like that, I think that's bad. Just look at Liam Cohen and Doug Peterson and the difference in Jacksonville. Night and day. Absolute night and day. At this point, you're better off taking a swing on someone else's tree at that point. I I I I understand the Eagles are a little hesitant from a play calling standpoint, and you want an experienced play caller, which I screamed from the heavens of to the heavens, not from the heavens, that would be bad, but to the heavens about getting an experienced play caller, which they didn't do with Kevin Patullo. But at this point, if you can't get a legitimate high qual, you don't want just some other random guy who's just an experienced play. Like at this point, you'd be more open to get someone from, again, I just keep making this up, like a passing game coordinator from a much more sustainable operation like the McVay Shanahans, etc. You're better off trying to find the next Clint Kubick in that regard, rather than just saying, how about a Greg Roman? How about a Doug Peterson? How about, you're just like, you're kind of just getting the same offenses then. But I do think they need a dude in the building. They need someone who commands the offense, someone who holds everyone accountable. Something that Kurt Warner pointed out so much, that, I mean, we know Devontae is an unbelievable wide receiver, right? And low maintenance, willing to put in the work, willing to do everything. And Kurt Warner, in a couple of his film breakdowns, kind of talked about like, hey, look where. And I'm just using Devontae as a placeholder, but I just remember specifically him talking about a play with Devontae. I think against the Jacksonville Jaguars, he's like, no. Excuse me, against the Chargers. And he's essentially, in a nutshell, he's like, this route is being run wrong. And he's not saying that he's doing it wrong, because he goes, it depends on how it's being coached. And he goes, Devontae is probably running the route correctly, how he's being told to. He's like, but it's the wrong route. It's the wrong way that you're running, in a way where the defense now is going to be able to keep up, is essentially going to make it harder for Jalen to hit you on that, where that if you ran more outside the numbers in this one, and then cut back, you're pulling the defense farther away, you're setting it up for a significant easier play for Jalen and you to connect. So something even just little like that, of having someone who's demanding that, because I'm telling you right now, like, not only do you coach it appropriately in real time, but then when you're doing it in practice, when you see the receiver do that, you're like, no, stop. No, it's got to be here. It's got to be over here. You're too far in. You got to be out. Right? Like, it's just you're being coached. You're like, no, do it again. Out. We can't have this. You're a step more in. That's a difference between scoring a touchdown and not scoring a touchdown. You got to be out. You got to take that step out. You got to take that step out. You got to do it. And you got to have the coach that recognizes that, sees that, and holds everyone accountable. So just something as little as that from a coordinating, something that like a Mike McDaniel probably doesn't do very well, would be my guess. That would be my guess. I could see him maybe in a film breakdown being like, hey, Devontae, you got to be a little bit more outside, and and you do that and it'll be better. And fans is like, okay, but you need that guy. And that's why someone like a Ben Johnson is worth his weighted gold, because not only is he the play caller, play designer, but like he's going to be the one that's like, no, do it again. That's not what we talked about. And then if he doesn't like what he sees, it's why he kicked everyone out, which, listen, I'm not a huge fan of that either. I'm more of a fan of the balance. It's why I really, really have grown to just think the world of a Liam Cohen, because I think you can hold people accountable and not create this tense environment. So Eagles need to find the next Liam Cohen is what they need. That's what they need. They need that next Liam Cohen. That is a coach that I think survives well in a Philadelphia. Who is that guy? I don't know. But I know it's not a retread with like a Doug Peterson at this point. I know that. And I know it's not elevating some 55-year-old quarterback coach. I know that as well. Where are you finding the other guys? I don't know that. So I don't have that answer. If I did, Harry Roseman would be calling me right now. And he'd be like, hey, bud, where do we go from here? Be like, Howie, come on, man. I can't keep bailing you out. I can't keep bailing you out. I'm the one that told you about Kel Moore. I'm the one that told you about Shane Steichen. I told you to get Saquon. I can't keep bailing you out, man. I can't keep bailing you out. I'm still waiting for my Super Bowl ring, especially from 2017 when I told you about Nick Foss. You owe me 2 rings right now. Until you get me those 2 rings, I'm not helping you get a third. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles? Who do you think they should get from a coordinating standpoint? What do you think they should do with A.J. Brown? I'm thinking they should probably trade him to the Los Angeles Rams. I think that's probably a good idea. Get him to the Rams. Probably just trade Devontae and Saquon to the Rams. Maybe keep AJ. Maybe that's probably the better play. But let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much.